going on, everybody? Welcome into Tennessee Football Talk. My name is Joey Petersen. Hope you've enjoyed your Saturday despite the loss to the Arkansas Razorbacks in basketball. But here at Tennessee Football Talk, we're going to talk about Tennessee football. And what more is there to talk about than the transfer portal? And we are going to address that bombshell report that we all saw earlier on social media. And if you haven't, there's been a little bit of chatter about Ty Simpson possibly transferring to Tennessee. We'll break it down. I'll share my thoughts. We'll talk possibilities, all that and more coming up on the show. It's going to be a very, very good one. And then at the end, we're going to catch you up on all the visits that Tennessee has scheduled as of right now. The transfer portal is crazy, and we're getting you covered twice a day right here on the channel. That's a perfect reason to subscribe. Second perfect reason, $0, 0 cents. Third perfect reason, we are very, very close to 11,000 subscribers. Need you guys to help me pass that tonight. And if we do, I'd be very, very appreciative. Okay, let's talk about this bombshell report. Tom Loy of 24/7 Sports said, and I quote, you can see it at the bottom of your screen right now, if Ty Simpson gets a first-round grade, he has gone to the NFL. If not, keep an eye on Tennessee and on Oregon. Wow. Did not expect that for my Saturday. Did not expect that to be a thing at all during this transfer portal season. Especially like if we flash back 2 months ago, even to discuss Ty Simpson possibly not being a first-round grade seemed absolutely ridiculous, and here we are. So I've got a couple of thoughts about this, right? First off, just because Tom Loy says it does not mean that it is 100% true or 100% going to happen. That's what one of his sources told him. Sometimes those sources are not right. We see it every single day. In fact, Tom Loy was the one who said that Cam Coleman was going to stay at Auburn, and then we all know, as of this last Monday, he did not. Okay? So these guys are wrong all the time. But I still believe it's something worth talking about because it does make some sort of sense. We all know he's a Tennessee kid. We all know he was heavily recruited by Tennessee. We all know he heavily considered Tennessee. In the Jeremy Pruitt era, nonetheless. Like, that's pretty unbelievable. I will never forget my sophomore year of college, sitting in my apartment in the fort, watching his commitment video on Instagram Live and watching him put on that Alabama hat. Was devastated, right? His dad is the coach at UT Martin. His family's from here. The Volunteer State, that is. So it would make sense that he would want to come home. And if you are a quarterback with his skill set, feels like a pretty safe bet to marry yourself with a coach like Josh Heupel. Now let's talk draft grade. Ty Simpson's a very, very interesting prospect because midway through this year, he seemed like a bona fide first-round pick. In fact, our lead NFL draft guy at Chat Sports was saying he might go into the draft being the best quarterback there. This was like mid-October. I mean, he absolutely surged after that Florida State loss. Around that time of the year, after that Georgia game, it felt like Alabama might not lose again. It felt like Ty Simpson might not miss another throw again. And then the end of the season kind of tailed off a little bit. And for a guy who wants to go to the NFL, that is the worst time of year for you to tail off a little bit because that's when majority of the people have their eyes on you. Majority of the people are paying attention to you. And then he suffered a rib injury during the college football playoff game against Indiana 2 days ago, and now we find ourselves here. I've talked to some people, I've read some people who think he's still going to be a first-round pick. I've read a lot of people who don't think he's going to be a first-round pick. And like Tom Loy says, again, we'll flash it up on the screen, if Ty Simpson gets a first-round grade, he's gone. If not, keep an eye on Tennessee and Oregon. I personally would love the fit. I think Ty Simpson and Josh Heupel would be a perfect marriage together at the quarterback position and head coach position. I truly, truly do. Is he a perfect quarterback? No, he's not. But man, I think he'd be really good at the system. He's accurate. He typically didn't struggle with turnovers until the very end of the year, but that was the thing that everybody was talking about him. Like the first 2 months of the season, everybody was just saying he just doesn't put the ball in harm's way. And traditionally, he didn't. He can make plays with his legs. He can extend plays. He's not one of those guys who's going to rip you up for 60, 70, 80 yards rushing on the ground per week, but he'll hurt you for 15 yards down the field if you're not paying attention. He'll scramble out of the pocket, make a play with his leg, hit a throw downfield. He will do that every single game. I think he'd be awesome. I truly do. I'm trying my best not to get my hopes up about the possibility of it because, again, I don't know how legitimate this is. I know Tom Loy of 24/7 Sports is a guy who does have a lot of insiders. He's got a lot of scoop, but again, he's wrong all the time. All of these guys are. But if it does happen, if he does want to enter the transfer portal, if he does want to go elsewhere, if Kalen DeBoer feels like, okay, I just want to get one of my guys here, then I'd get that. I would. Because Kalen DeBoer inherited Jalen Milroe. Kalen DeBoer inherited Ty Simpson. Those aren't Kalen DeBoer recruited guys. They're not. So I would understand if they didn't like the way he ended that season and they feel like they're best to go somewhere else. I'd understand that. I think I'd be a little bit surprised, but I'd understand it. Now, I think the interesting thing to discuss here is the price, because this is where it probably gets over my range I'm comfortable with. I've always said that my magic quarterback transfer portal number is $3 million. I don't feel too comfortable paying much more than that. Ty Simpson would probably command a little bit more than that. He would. I could be talked to about it, but I got to stand on my principles. I'd pay $3 million for Ty Simpson. I just don't know how much more I'd pay than that. Now, you might find yourself in the spot where you're not really in the running for a lot of these quarterbacks. And early intel is Tennessee necessarily isn't in the running for a lot of these quarterbacks. Sorsby's already got his visits down. LSU, Texas Tech. Byron Brown has already been crystal balled to Auburn. Mestamaker just committed to Oklahoma State. Hoover seems to be a shoe-in to Indiana. We don't know what that's going to go, how that's going to go until they're out of the playoff. So it feels like a lot of these top guys that we've talked about a lot kind of already have their homes. Levitt possibly to Kentucky. More on that in a second. So maybe you do up your price a little bit because as the demand, shortens or I guess shrinks, the price is going to go up. Just simple supply and demand. And I'm hitting you with that as a guy who graduated with a journalism degree. Okay? Shout out College of Communications. So I don't know, man. It's crazy. We'll keep you updated as new updates come in, but that's all we got right now. For other quarterback stuff, Austin Price went on with Ramon and Will. He went on 104.5 The Zone. He actually might have gone on, it might not have been Ramon and Will. I think it was Swain, actually. Or Swain, excuse me. Regardless, he went on one of the Knoxville radio shows, and he said that really the only name he's heard out of Tennessee as of right now is Sam Levitt. He hasn't heard much more in the quarterback room. Now they're still kind of, I think, monitoring the whole Joey situation. Obviously, we know he's going to get surgery for that benign tumor that they announced just yesterday. Crazy, by the way. Shout out Joey, absolute warrior. Talk about a VFL. But Sam Levitt's the only name that he's hearing, so it's the only name that we're hearing. But Sam Levitt to Kentucky seems to be something that's really coming down the pike with Will Stein there being the Wildcats' new head coach, and I'm sure they'd be willing to pay a pretty penny for a Sam Levitt. In other visit news, Quay Moss will be coming to Knoxville, Tennessee. That's a guy we talked about last week. It's so funny. A lot of these guys we talked about over the last couple of weeks, so if you've heard these names on social media and you've watched our show, they shouldn't be new to you. We've seen these coming. We've reported these. We've talked about these. He is a guy that will be visiting nickel corner with Kansas State, a dude you should be pumped up about. He's an absolute stud. Again, and how do I keep saying? What do I keep saying? I say the way to know if these guys are studs or not, if you don't know too much about the film, if you don't want to get too analytical, if you don't want to look at the stats even, the way to know whether these guys are guys to get excited about is to take the pulse of the opposing fan base. And if the opposing fan base is upset about them possibly leaving, then I think that's a player you could get excited about. And that's what Quay Moss is. I mean, the Kansas State dudes were devastated when they found out that he was leaving Kansas State. Going to be on a visit to Tennessee. I think the dude's an absolute player. You need a guy to come in and help in that nickel corner spot after Boo Carter leaves. He's an athlete. He's in the middle of every single play, forced fumbles, pass breakups, interceptions, tackles. He can give you anything you need in that position. And what do we need most help with? Defensive back, defensive back, defensive back. That's it, man. It's the biggest priority. Nothing new since last time we talked, visit-wise. We'll be keeping you updated. We'll get you a video out tomorrow morning. Actually going to be in studio for tomorrow's videos, okay? So we'll be back in the usual setup. Got a couple of NFL games to call tomorrow, so it'll be a busy day. I'll make sure to get in the office early, get us a morning video out. I cover the Ravens and the Packers for work, so in between those two games, I will be getting us a video out probably around 4 or 5 range before the Sunday Night Football game of Ravens-Steelers. So keep watching on the channel. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure to turn on those notifications. It's a very important time to have those on. I know I know the guys who do, because they're always the guys that are first in the video. I appreciate them a ton. And I appreciate you guys for listening, for watching, for making this a part of your day. It's, again, a dream that I get to do this, cover this team for a living. Been getting to do it for a very, very long time. First time ever getting paid to do it. So it's pretty awesome stuff. Alrighty. Have a great rest of your Saturday. Have an awesome Sunday. And we'll see you tomorrow.